Alright, what is good, players? Today we will be reviewing and kind of just showcasing the Digiornblock Minecraft server. As you can see here, we've got many things to cover. So first thing here, we've got Gromp Estate, and this was actually one of two initial additions to the Digiornblock Minecraft server. This, of course, being the second edition with Isaac's house here. We actually call this one Biscuit Estate, as that is Isaac's username. I am, of course, Spigoof. Or I'm actually Gront in this server here. But over here we've got the Wizard Tower, and this is actually home to the Digiornblock's own Jeff here. And Jeff is actually alive and well. Jeff actually tends to spontaneously despawn kind of just whenever he feels like it. Over here, as you can see, this is the only person that ever disagreed with Jeff. We're going to move on here, and we're going to go down here, and you might actually be surprised to learn that the magma actually pulls you down. I actually thought magma would boost you up, seeing as it's hot. You know, and Souls End is all about sucking you. You know what I mean? It's kind of like about sucking you down. You know, because it's kind of trying to slow you down, so I figured, but no, it's actually the opposite. You know, magma is like bubbles rising, so you would think maybe that would mean like pushing up. But no, it is actually quite the opposite. So anyway, we go down the path here, and as you can see, we've got some buttons here. This is actually called detail. I don't know if you guys actually knew that you can actually add things like this. Master volume is far too high. We're gonna turn it down here, and let's just break a block or two just to test. You can see we have the Better Leaves mod installed here. That is also part of detail. But over here we have, this is actually the Pablo stronghold. Funnily enough, this is actually part of the long history of lore in the Digiornblock server, but Pablo actually pay no attention to this. Pablo actually, for whatever reason, we actually don't know what the cause of this is, and I didn't even know this is actually a feature, but Pablo, much like many other NPCs in this world, decided to spontaneously change. Unlike Jeff, who spontaneously changes from a fisherman to a coal miner, Pablo just decided to indulge in his desire to master the dark arts, and he turned into a witch. Now Pablo, you know, he's harmless as a witch, but we actually don't support witchcraft here. And so he's trapped here, prisoner Pablo, with Mohammed, the cat, who wasn't actually his cat before, but we just felt like a black cat would be accommodating. And as you can see, he's got a purple collar to match that of his human, if you could even call him that, counterpart. Over here, this is actually Darius Tower. Now, Darius was actually the antithesis to, I would say, Pablo. Pablo was very cynical, of course, privately. We all, you know, were under Pablo's spell from the beginning, no pun intended. Darius is quite the opposite. You know, Darius was a pure soul. Darius just lived in his little house here on the hillside, right on the water. You know, he had a little farm, but unfortunately, during the blip of June, I don't remember the exact date. During that blip, Pablo and Darius were both eradicated from the world. Of course, Pablo was able to return through his preservation of his soul through, of course, the mystic and dark arts, but unfortunately Darius did not suffer the same fate. In fact, Darius suffered a much more cruel fate in which he was just wiped from the face of the world. Darius, of course, will get a monument. Unlike Pablo, who got a shabbily constructed prison, which actually looks more like a dojo, Darius actually received a full-on clock tower, which was you know, slightly less shabbily constructed, but still mediocre to say the least. And of course, the inhabitants of Darius Tower, of course, is not Darius. The inhabitants are actually just Rich Homie Quan up here, who I guess took over after we realized that there was no interior for this tower because its builder was too lazy. And that's about it. Honestly, over here we've got this windmill, which was actually one of the third additions to the world. Over here, this is the Wizard Tower, and this is the well. And if you actually take a trip down the well, this is actually very secretive. If we travel down to the bottom of the well, you will see Jeff's mining hub. Now, Jeff's mining hub is actually the most recent addition to the world. Jeff is actually, much like Pablo, but in a much less cynical sense, able to teleport from place to place, unbeknownst to the player, at any given time. So Jeff, of course, is taking the place of the salesman in any position that requires his services. Jeff, of course, is a blacksmith, or maybe more like a miner, I suppose. Not like miner as in he's not legally allowed to get fucked, but a miner in the sense that he gathers resources and brings them back to the surface. Now, as you can see, Pablo, or Jeff, if he wanders too far into the realm of hay bales in the back there, he'll actually turn into a farmer. A little bit, I would say, even more impressive than Pablo's ability to spontaneously change into a witch and essentially create matter out of thin air by, you know, giving himself a purple hat, a purple robe and a black hat. But over here, as you can see, this is a little bit more mystical. This will, if you press this button, it'll give you a leather cap, and if you press this button, or a leather, just a full set of leather armor, and if you press this button, it'll give you the same, but in diamond. And then over here, if you go here, this will take you to a cave, in which you will not mine because we're in creative mode. And then if you click back and you try to exit, it will prevent you from exiting because Jeff is just too petty to let you leave without at least reminding you that there are merch options available for purchase. But if you do find yourself too broke to purchase anything and decide that you're a terrible person, you can opt to leave, but not before Jeff reminds you to buy something by saying what's good. As you can see, it's very charming of him. It's pretty hard to resist, but if you're still too broke, you can return to either the mining hub, which you just came from and tried to leave, or you can go to the fork, which will just take you to a general kind of jumping off point for the world, where you can go to basically any location. As you can see, this direction will lead you to the archery range along with Gront Estate, and this direction will actually lead you back to the clock tower and the little bait and tackle shop, which actually don't have a waypoint for it. But that about does it. Fuck you, fuck everything, eat shit, and die.